transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve of God's will, His good, pleasing, and perfect will. And thus concludes the scripture reading, Romans chapter 12, verse 2. When I spoke last month, I spoke about the unusual war that we were fighting with unusual soldiers on the front lines, a war against a virus. And they say that this virus came from China, but really it could have come from anywhere. And it could have still affected as many people as it has so far. It's a virus, it's a molecule. And even though there are unproven conspiracy theories about where it came from, everything points to the fact that it was a natural occurrence. Natural, created by nature. And it has caused a lot of damages around the world, but it was created by nature. The other day, I was listening to a podcast by Mathieu Ricard. And Mathieu Ricard is a French monk who lives with the Dalai Lama. His advice was, don't go to war against the virus, because you don't go to war against nature. And he said, instead, go to war against the egoistic behaviors that we see around the world. Go to war against greed. That is the true enemy. Now, if you Google the definition of nature, which I have done, you'll have 2.5 billion hits. The first definition is a phenomena of the physical world collectively, including plants, animals, the landscape, and other features and products of the earth, as opposed to humans and human creations. So nature equals what is not created by men. So it could really be what is created by God. Why would we fight anything created by God? Before my daughter jumps on me and gets angry that God created something like this virus that prevents her from seeing her friends, her favorite teacher, I'll say created by natural law, or even created by our divine aspect. Over the past couple of months, I've alluded to the fact that it's natural law that created this situation we're in right now. And also how we have to be careful what we wish for, and how the vibrations that we put in the universe create our reality, which created the current circumstances. And what this monk, Mathieu Ricard, said really made sense to me, because it's very much in alignment with some of the things I was mentioning over the past couple of months. But let's go back to nature and why fighting the virus and fighting nature might not be the best approach. How effective have we been so far at fighting things that were created by nature, things that are unpleasant and that are threatening to humans, like natural disasters? How good are we at fighting earthquake? Yes, we can prevent, we can prepare our homes, we can build them strongly, but we can't prevent the earthquake. We have to prepare as much as we can and then live with what happens. How about floods? And as we recently saw in Michigan, unfortunately, we can try to prevent floods as much as we can with dams, but those things created by men fail. And those things need maintenance by men. How about hurricanes? How good are we at preventing hurricanes? Again, we can prepare, we can board our homes, we can evacuate, but we can't use a machine and shoot the hurricane down. We can't prevent the storm with machines that we have created. We have to evacuate and shelter in place until it passes. Same here with this pandemic. We have to shelter in place and wait for it to pass. And experts that might be working on a vaccine and medication for the good of humanity. But until we are ready as a humanity, we have to shelter in place and wait for it to pass. Because if you think about it, there's a purpose in all things created by nature, created by God. And the best thing that we can do is to be respectful of this event and its purpose. Thursday morning, when I sat down to start writing the sermon, right after I watched the morning news. And then I saw that as the country was reopening, the number of cases was at the highest that it had ever been in the US and in the world. And the number of children afflicted by this new syndrome that they discovered, the syndrome related to COVID-19, was rising. And it was as life was trying to send us a message to tell us that we were not ready to reopen and resume things the way things used to be. We have to listen. We have to listen to what's happening around us. The earth, the universe sends us message all the time. And if we have not fixed the things that caused the situation in the first place, the buildup of those negative energies in the world and the strong need that our higher self has to slow down our lives, we're not ready to resume a normal life. What normal do we want? Yes, we're tired of confinement and we want to go back. But go back to what? What do we want? Also, when it's my week to speak, I get messages and inspiration every day at random time. One thing that happened this week was that I was thinking about my team at work. And I wanted all of us to be back together because yes, I mean, I'm just like everybody else. I want to see people. But I was immediately impressed by the fact that we were not ready. And I strongly felt that we have to spend more time going within. Meditate. We have not done the work. We have to stay home, stay inside. And if you think about it, staying home, staying within is a good metaphor for going within, for meditating. We need to spend more time meditating, reflecting, so that we can realize the changes that we need to make and make a better life for all. Now, you might be thinking that you can't make those changes alone. In a way, actually, yes, you can, because it starts with one at a time, and then slowly and naturally it becomes global, just like the virus. It started with one person, and then it grew, and amazing things can happen. We are very eager to go back, to go out and live our lives, because that's what we're used to, going out. But one of the things that we're learning to do now is to be a little more patient and resilient. We are learning patience and resilience. Those that are most successful in life are those who are resilient and those who adapt. It's even the case for corporations. It's the corporations that adapt to the circumstances in the market and the needs of society. They create new products that we need, and then they do well. Same with humans who live in the flow of life instead of living against the flow of life. The soldiers who come back injured from the battlefield, and after arduous work, they decide that it's time to adapt and make the most of their lives. They don't fight the condition anymore. They adapt. And adapting takes courage. Adapting takes resilience. About 5 years ago, I had the honor of meeting Bonnie St. John at a conference in DC. I don't know if you know Bonnie St. John, but she's a pretty amazing lady. She's the first African American woman to win Olympic medals for skiing at the Paralympics. Bonnie was born with a condition, and at the age of 5, she had to have her right leg amputated. Even though Bonnie lived in a poor part of San Diego, to help desegregation, she was bused to a different part of town, and she went to a more affluent school. There, she befriended a girl who invited her on a ski trip during the winter break. She learned how to ski, and on one leg. She explained it on YouTube and also in her book. It was difficult and it was painful. She was bruised, she was in pain, but after a few days, she could ski. She continued learning throughout the years, and she trained really hard. And then she ended up at the Special Olympics. She won silver. She also graduated from Harvard, and she went from growing up in a poor part of San Diego to even working at the White House, working alongside several presidents. Then she wrote several books, and she's now a motivational speaker on resilience, micro-resilience, resilience, adaptation. Now I would say that she is a resilience subject matter expert. Bonnie gives tips on resilience, and in one of the clips that I was watching the other day, she was explaining that we often put barriers to achieving our goals. We do it with negative statements. And the example that she used was, I don't have enough money to go to college. But she said that if you change this statement to a positive statement, there'll be changes in your brain, and those changes will help you realize your potential. And in this case, the statement became, I have enough money to go to college. Bonnie says that it's those changes in your brain that create the possibility. But in divine metaphysics, we would say that by changing the statement, we change the vibration, and then we create a new future. We manifest a positive outcome. So for those of us who have confinement fatigue and COVID fatigue, instead of dreaming of going to crowded places, to bars, on vacation at the beach, instead of fighting the idea that we have to wear a mask, instead of saying that we're tired of staying at home and we are afraid, we can change the statement. We can change the thought. We can say, I am joyful. I am safe. I am grateful. We can't stop. We can't find a virus, and we can't stop it from spreading until all things fall into place. And we can't change other people's behavior by just complaining about them. Because just as we have free will, so do they. But we can use our resilience to continue to think positively and to act in a way that is safe for us and for all. We can use our resilience to stay on the path and go within. We can use our power of positive thinking to create a future that is one that serves the greatest good. And while we are in those positive energies in meditation, and those loving energies, we can visualize the beautiful future that we want to create for all. To go back to scripture, do not conform any longer to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Do not complain. Be strong, be resilient, be like Bonnie. Use the power of your mind and learn to do what you need to do to achieve your goal. Learn to stay home and go within. Learn to control your thoughts and only allow the positive and loving thoughts to go into your consciousness. Bonnie learned to ski on one leg. She did amazing things. And we can do amazing things too. We can spend more time staying within and controlling our thoughts. And as the saying goes, when life gives you lemon, make lemonade. Be transformed by the power of your mind and by the situation that this virus has given. Life came down to a halt so that we could go in and reconsider how we live our lives. Allow the process to take place. Make time to meditate. And for most of us, now there is more time than ever. Make time to connect to the divine within you. It will give you the insight and the peace and the resilience needed to do what is for your highest good and the highest good of all. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Many blessings.